Hey guys, welcome. This is Mace from Mace TV, and this is going to be my ultimate Valby build guide. We're going to start it off with kind of showing you what the end result is going to look like, depending on where you're at and what you are going for. This may work for you. It's going to allow you to do a number of different things, kind of tailor it to your play style at the end of the day. But I did try and make it as well-rounded as possible. First things first, the mounting weapon. So when it comes to Ultimate Valby and Valby in general, supply moisture is king still. I think that if you don't have it yet, that's going to be step one for pretty much anybody. That is going to unlock the skill crit potential of her, as well as the bossing and the gun strength there, being able to crit a lot more often. With the skill crit build and mobbing mentality in mind, there's one gun, the blue beetle, that standed out to me and is what I made my focus. So when we look at the blue beetle, the unique ability, using a fusion skill, which is going to be our 1 or our 4, grants the unique ability Arcane Energy. So when maxed up all the way, trigger rate is every single time 10 seconds of 30% skill crit hit rate additional. So that's going to be multiplied and stacked with all of our other skill crit, just further pushing that. And of course you want to be mounted with that. So in the reactor, a couple things that I went for early were skill crit, and I had one that was skill crit and cooldown that was gold both. Very nice reactor, especially when you're still building out your character and you don't have maxed out crit. Upon testing anywhere up, I got it up to 90%. I went from 90% crit. I saw what the maximum was, and I slowly worked my way back down to where I felt like it was at a point where it's critting enough. When you're hitting hard enough, you don't need a crit every time in terms of the mobbing. 2 ticks usually kills about anything in terms of a normal enemy. So my thinking was around that 55 to 65% mark was satisfactory. You know, more than every other time it's going to be critting. So when you're looking at a bunch of damage numbers here, pretty soon about half of them should be critting. That's kind of the sweet spot number that I landed upon. I tried to get opinions on that from chat and from people that had been coming in, and I couldn't really get any firm answers, but that's kind of where I'm landing. I would love to know your opinion in the comments. Speaking of, there's going to be a giveaway Sunday next week. It's going to be right after the new update, and if you want to join, the link will be in the description. I'd love to have you. There's also a Discord link there if you want to meet some cool people who are gaming and sharing builds and stuff like that. They were ones that were testing my early builds and kind of helped me get to where I'm at and teach me a lot of stuff. So we'd love to have you there. I appreciate everybody who's been supporting thus far, hanging out in the live stream. So that being said, let's get back to it. Now, when it comes to the external components, this is where I didn't know the potential until it hit me in the face. Okay, so the Slayer set, upon research, was the only one that was really seeming viable to Valby. There's nothing that affects non-attributes, so just give me as much skill power as you can give me, basically. So we landed with a pretty good set of rolls, if I will say. We got gold HP, MP recovery and combat, which is essential for any Valby. That's going to be stacking with your MP recovery modifiers, and which is going to be on your memory, which I got a gold roll on that. In the processor, I think the best thing you can get is shield recovery modifier and max shield. So I'm looking pretty good early on the Slayer set. I've only farmed it like 2 or 3 days, and I got very lucky. So definitely want to be looking for one with max MP and MP recovery and combat, and then MP recovery modifier on this. The other ones are kind of up to whatever you need in terms of HP. That being said, HP did become harder with the Slayer set. There's a little bit less HP roll, so you definitely want to get it on the auxiliary power there. Now, with those pieces kind of in play, that's kind of the core of the build. Skill crit, building the skill power, and obviously the roles, non-attribute and dimension on the current reactor are just to give us as much as possible on the cleanup and the plot. Those are going to be our biggest area, you know, lay down the AoE abilities. And that's kind of the direction we went there. Now, when it comes to the modules for the main build, keep in mind that all of these socket types are assigned for mobbing. My main goal was to make the ultimate well-rounded mobber that could also boss well, so that's where we went. In terms of the crit, that is a huge focus, obviously. So the three that are doing that are the front lines, emergency measures, and the concentration. And I basically just found the matching of the three. I tried all the different combinations and kind of landed at 55% crit is where I liked it. It was possible to get, you know, like 60, 65 and hit a little bit less hard. You'll see here shortly kind of what I'm hitting right now in terms of damage. But this is what I landed with. So skill simplification is one I'm not seeing a lot of people use. Now, the max MP negative could be worrisome to some, but with the Slayer set I'm going to be showing you here in a bit, it doesn't end up too bad, okay? So between that and Dangerous Ambush in the Slayer set, you're really going to be hitting hard. Focus on non-attribute obviously is going to affect all of your skills. So this build, instead of focusing on dimension, I tried it, I couldn't hit any harder than this build. I was hitting about 100 and 150,000 damage harder with this than with the focus on dimension. So skill simplification across the board seems to be the most well-rounded, especially paired with focus on non-attribute. From there, that's kind of all of our damage and our crit out of the way. We have 2 for expansion because my basic mentality is cover as much area as fast as possible, get as many stacks and layers of water everywhere, so you're not just critting once, but you have 2 ticks always going, critting half the time. So you're basically one-tapping if you have 2 layers of water down. So that's the idea there. Extension. There's other ones. You could go for more of an extension build and have it last longer than your expansion. That would be viable as well, but that's kind of where I land. And then in terms of the cooldown, I'm using 2 kind of in tandem. Your focus on non-attribute for -6, the skill cooldown of -14 on time distribution. So here's the mob build. I'm going to show you how it hits in the lab. And we're just going to throw up. Now, obviously these are going to be the weakest opponents, so I'm going to show you the maximum theoretical that you can hit. And obviously we're going to be throwing a fusion ability to proc the skill crit. And you can see it hits for 622,000. The plop should hit for about 300,000. 313,000. Bubble bullets from about this far, hitting for 1 point. Oh, I might throw another one. That was hard to see. Let's go ahead and get what that hits for. So about 700, 800,000 on the laundry bomb. And our bubble bullet, about 1.8 for a little, little bounce pass from here to there. So not too bad. I've definitely hit bubble bullets upwards of 3 to 4 mil now. The big one is the laundry bomb. So 800 with really fast tick rates. Seems to be a little bit faster than some of the others. So that's where we're hitting in terms of damage on obviously the weakest enemies here. So other thing I want to show you. So next part here. We're going to turn the invincibility off. Now, I'm going to show you the secret sauce to the whole loadout. And I didn't discover this about the Slayer set until recently, but this is a huge piece of what makes everything possible. So, you're going to have rounds per magazine up, skill cost goes up, but skill power goes way up. And that's what we're really looking for in the set. And then this last note here. When defeating enemies inflicted with Toad, recovers MP and specialized resource 12% at a 17% chance. Now, does that sound familiar? When defeating an enemy, instantly recovers 12% of max MP at a 17% chance. Pretty close. Okay, so there is an integrated MP collector in the Slayer set, and no one's talking about it, but I'm going to talk about it right now. This is an easy way to get your MP back. Now, it's not going to always proc. I'm going to try and use a bunch of MP here. I'm going to use a bunch of MP so we can really see what it's doing. And keep in mind, with a bigger... This would be much easier to do with a bigger group. But you should see it jump in there. So there, I mean, you can see, you know, I threw 2 out. I got 2 ticks from it. This was only 10 enemies. So that's the secret sauce. You know, we have higher skill costs. Yes, we're not running MP Collector or Selective Recovery MP, which was what I thought to be the best way to run Valby. We don't need that anymore. We have the ability to run Dangerous Ambush, run 2 power perks or modules, 3 skill crit, 2 expansion, 2 duration, 1 extension, and 1 HP. Now, the health, I am at 4,500, so not the craziest amount of HP. This is a mobbing build, though. I usually do not have a problem. As you know, when you do cleanup, you get that defensive boost, so that's going to help a lot. And my defense is at 8,500 with 1,900 shield, so a lot of shield to work with. There's 4 or 5 ways to enter. You can find the link in the description once again. Yeah, I would love to have y'all if you want to come hang out in a live stream. Let me know what you think of the Ultimate Valby final build that I'm kind of crafted in terms of modules and components. I look forward to showing you the boss build, which is just a slight variation of this. In that video, I'll also show you the gunner boss build that is just kind of focused around, you know, not skills at all in terms of damage on the boss, but just the ability to stack supply moisture and hit as hard as you can with your guns. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your support so far during this content creation journey. It's been really fun, and I hope to see a lot more of you. Peace. Have a good one, y'all.